First thing I'd say, I love the opportunity to get my hands dirty in a video I make. That's great. This is a typical workshop press. We've all seen them, we've all got them. Okay, here we go. Here's our lower sleeve. That fits nicely underneath the control arm. Our upper sleeve sits nicely on the metal casing of the bush. Our press plate fits snugly onto the upper sleeve, and we're just going to put some nice gentle force down on that now. There you go. Simple as that. So let's have a look. Release our press. Seriously? Simple, eh? So now we're going to use exactly the same tools to replace that with our higher quality Nolathane bushing. So back onto the press plate. Okay, we've got our lower outer sleeve. We sit our control arm on top. Then we sit our bushing on top of that and make sure it's nice and square. And then we've got our top bush and our press plate. So we'll put those in place. And then under we go. Here we go. Okay, that's just about home there. Now I've got to say, that did feel particularly nice going in there, as it should. You shouldn't feel any really horrible binding, or if the press is overworking, you'll know about it. And look there, I don't mind saying, nice job, Larko. That's a very good bushing installation. That's where we came from. That's now what we've got. But you know what? I can make this even simpler. So that's how you do it on a hydraulic press. Now, we get that not everyone has one of those. If you're a DIYer, there's nothing stopping you from doing exactly the same task using these range of pulling spindles that come in the Nolathane kit. Now, effectively what they are is a range of 10, 12, 14 and 16 millimetre high tensile threaded rod with this beautiful little nut arrangement. There's two of those, and they've got a ball bearing in them and a really nicely machined pair of thrust washers on there. Now that's important, I'll show you in a sec. So I've got another Nissan lower front control arm with a worn out OEM bushing in it that we're going to replace right here on the bench. Okay, so we grab our threaded rod, largest rod available to fit inside the hole that you're going to go through. We put our lower press plate on, we put the appropriate sleeve that's going to fit around the steel of our control arm, then we slide our top sleeve down over the top, then our top press plate, nice snug fit, line it all up, put your top nut on, screw him up. Okay, so we've got all that. Now just double check it's all lined up really nicely and centralised. That's the most important thing. Okay, now what I might do to make this a little easier is, and so you can see it a little easier, is I'm going to put that in my vise around that way. I'm going to grab a couple of spanners. Couple of ring spanners, and here we go. We're going to press out this bushing. So you can see that bush just starting to get pressed through. Again, make sure if you feel any really serious resistance, stop and check that it's all lined up. That is the most critical thing, whether you're on the hydraulic press or doing it here with our spindles. So you can see that's going all the way through there, and that's just going to pop out, and look at that. Yeah, so there you can see the old bushing pressed out of place. So we just pull that apart now, and what we're going to do is simply reverse the process, get rid of that bit of junk, and put something with some real quality back in its place. Watch how simple this is. So here we go in reverse. Our press plate onto our spindle, okay, then our sleeve sits underneath the control arm. We get our bushing, slide our bushing, line him up accurately. That's the most important part, okay? Then our next sleeve, our top press plate. Now you want to line all of that up really nicely. Just do up your nut there. So I'm actually pulling. Now when that's finger tight, I would strongly recommend that you take a little bit of time just to make sure that the bushing is aligned properly into the control arm, and your sleeves are nice and square and straight. Everything's centralised. In fact, I'm just doing this to show you. I'd recommend that you probably tip it up vertically so everything's a little bit easier to line up. But I've made sure that's all aligned now. I get my spanners and we just go back the other way. We just gently wind our bushing in, and again, just use your gut feel. If it's not feeling right, just stop, make sure it's straight, because you don't want to change the sizing of the aperture or the orifice in the control arm. But you can look at that, you can just see with those ball bearings, those steel ball bearings and those nice little thrust washers on the nuts, just how beautifully that pulls into place. So, there it is finished. Now, a couple of things. You could actually do this with a, like an impact wrench or an air wrench. I don't know. I reckon something really nice about using a couple of spanners. It lets you have a nice feel of what's going on. If something binds up, if you've got it out of alignment, or it's even too easy, I like the use of the spanners. Now, one quick thing that's really important, and when you can get thrown out using a wrench, is before you pull your old bushing out, make sure you note and measure, there'll be a mark there, or it'll be protruding, how far it does protrude through, so you can locate the new bushing back into exactly the same position. So let's have a look how I've done here. Pressing this in, I mean, I've got to say, it could not be easier. So let's just pull our device apart. And there you go, in a matter of minutes. That, for me, is a really nice, simple bushing installation using really nice, simple tools. So there you have it. A minute ago, we had these. Now, we've got these. And don't you love, in a complex world that we live in, that something so simple and effective works so well? And it doesn't matter whether it's the hydraulic press or the little spindle pullers. What did I spend? Maybe 2 or 3 minutes here and only a little bit longer there. So talk to your Nolathane stockist about getting your hands on one of these really cool little remove and replace tools. Andy, can I have one?